Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Rosa Maria. Today I have another simple, quick and easy sewing project. And the project that we're going to be working on is, this is cute, it's only using 2 fabric and also is eagle friendly. We don't have to use interface for this. So keep in mind that you can change the length of your handles, and also you could also decide if you prefer to use the printed side fabric as your main, and you can use the solid as your backup. So this is what it looks like. It has a front pocket and a back pocket too, but also you can change it, and also you can change it where you want the pockets to be inside. So it gives you a little option. This is just like something simple that you can start easy, quick, for a beginner. So grab all your tools and your materials and let's get started on this sewing project. So the tools you're going to be needing for this project, you'll be needing some sewing pins, some fabric clips, a coordinating thread, a ruler, a friction pen. You can use either a rotary cutter or a pair of scissors to cut out your fabric. And the fabric you're going to be needing is a solid fabric, and you want a printed fabric. So next, you need to cut out your fabric. So you need to cut out your printed fabric, and you're going to cut out your solid fabric. And the size you're going to be cutting both of these fabric is, of course, 46 centimeters by 46 centimeters. And if you're using inches, is 18 1/8 inches by 18 1/8 inches. So once you have cut your fabric, the next step we are going to fold our fabric. So I'm taking my printed fabric and I'm going to fold it, as you can see here, in half, and then you're going to refold it again, put it aside, and then you're going to take your solid fabric, the same thing, you're going to fold it in half and then refold it again, and then you're going to have 2 of your fabrics folded, and then I'm going to show you the next step. As you can see, I have here my solid fabric is folded. Take my ruler and I'm going to do my best to measure. So the ruler here is 9.5 inches, and I'm trying to keep it at least to 9 inches. So I'm just trying to keep it centered between these 2 little markings over here. So now I'm going to start to make little markings. You start making your little marks, and then you slowly move the ruler and start making marks. As you make those markings around, I will take my friction pen to create the outline of the circle. Okay. So once that is done, you can do the same thing to the solid fabric. I'm going to take my pair of scissors and then just gently start to cut the fabric. Once you finish doing that, we are going to take the corner over here and just create like a little notch here. Do the same thing on this corner here. Create a little notch right over here. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to open the fabric. As you can see, where I place my stuff, here is the other notches. So I refold the solid fabric. Now I'm pulling the printed fabric. And to make my life a little much easier, I will just outline the fabric by using the solid print as like a pattern. Okay, and once I do that, I can either cut it like this, or I can remove and use the outline as my guide. But I'm just gonna just cut around the fabric. Makes it easier. Cut over here. Okay. So again, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna cut the little nodules at the corners here, a small little piece on both sides. And again, I'm gonna open up the fabric. Okay, so I have my nice little round circle for both of the fabric. So as you can see, I finished cutting both of the fabric, and now it's a nice, beautiful circle. You see the printed side, and then you see also the solid side, nice and round. So I'm gonna just fold this in half. I just wanna make sure that the printed side's inside. Take that to the side. Do the same thing. Fold it in half, and then I'll show you what we're gonna be doing next. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my cutting mat as a guide, and I'm going to make a 10 centimeters, and that's 4 inches mark. So here it is, 4 inches here. 4 inches, you could use your ruler, and that will be 10 centimeters for your measurements. And then I'm going to take my sewing pins, and I'm going to just place them as you can see here. And then I'm going to do the same thing to my other piece of fabric. Line it up, mark my 4 inches, 10 centimeters, and then put the sewing pins here. And the reason why we have that 10 centimeters and 4 inches apart is because there's going to be the opening. This is where we're going to be turning the fabric inside out. So both of this fabric here, so each of these pieces, we're going to sew from here to here, from here to here. Same thing, we're going to sew here, stop as my guide, leave this open, and then resume sewing all the way here to the end for both of these fabric. So let's head on to the sewing machine. So we're here in the sewing machine, and I'm making sure that my foot presser is alongside of the fabric. So here I go, back stitch. I'm here at where the sewing pin is as my guide. I'm going to back stitch, remove the sewing pin. Now I'm going to start to sew the other side here. Okay, now I'm going to start to sew the printed side fabric. Starting now from this side here, and to finish up. Okay, as you can see, we finished stitching both of the fabric. We have an opening for both of them. So now with this opening, it is about turning the fabric inside out. So as we turn the fabric inside out, you see how this looks. I took my iron and was giving it a good press. I made sure that I folded these inside. So make sure that, you know, you kind of work with the fabric. You can use your boner to go inside to kind of help even everything out if you like. You can use your fingers, your hand, and that's what I did. So I was gently ironing it and making sure that these opening here, it's folded in. So we have a nice shape round for both of these. So again, make sure you give it a good press, work with it, take your time, make sure everything is nicely evenly flow. So then I'll show you the next step for this. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna fold my solid fabric first. Make sure it's aligned. Create a little crease right there. I'm gonna take my friction pen and then I'm gonna make a mark here. And I'm gonna make a mark here. And do the same thing to this printed side, printed fabric. Fold it. Make a crease. And then unfold it, make a line here, and make a line here. So by me doing that, it makes it much easier for me to align. So let me just make sure I have this line straight. Okay, so now I'm going to slowly move this here. Okay, make sure everything is nicely even. And then I'm going to take my ruler. So we are going to be measuring 4 centimeters. And if you're using inches, would be 5 5/8. And by doing so, I have it nicely aligned. Okay, there we are. And then I'm going to take my sewing pins. So I'm going to take my sewing pin and I'm going to start to secure the fabric together. And one more pin here. So then we're going to take it to the sewing machine and then we're going to start here at the end and then we are going to stitch here all across right here to secure this fabric. So from here all the way to here. So let's go to the sewing machine. So as you can see, I'm going to start to stitch across, back stitch, so as you can see, I finished top stitching here atop to secure this end of this fabric. Once that is done, I'm going to turn it around. And then of course, I'm going to use my template here, mat. And then I am going to make a mark here because we need to top stitch here to close the top opening. So I'm going to make a mark here. And I'm going to make a mark here. So these two marks are going to let me know that I have to top stitch from here to here. And I'm using my sewing pin to secure that opening so when I start to sew, it doesn't shift too much. So then from there, I'm going to use my ruler, and then I'm gonna make a straight line. So we're gonna stitch from here all the way down to here. This is where we're gonna end, from here to here. So when we go to the sewing machine, we're gonna stitch from here to secure and close up the opening. And then we're gonna take the sewing machine, we're gonna start stitching from here all the way to here to the end where the stitch here, as you can see that we created. So let's go to the sewing machine. As I mentioned, I'm going to start where I made a little marking over here to close this opening. So here I go to start to sew. Back stitch. Okay, I top stitched there. Now I'm gonna start to stitch right here along this line. So as you can see, we top stitch here in the top to close the opening, and then we top stitch here in the side to the end here where the stitches is, and then we created a pocket here, a pocket here, and then we're gonna fold it, as you can see here. I'm folding it in half, and I'm gonna take my fabric clips to secure here the end on this side, and also on this side too. I'm gonna secure it. Okay, now that we have both of these ends secure, we're gonna take it to the sewing machine, and then we're gonna stitch across here and stitch across here. So we're gonna close these both sides of the fabric. So let's go to the sewing machine. Okay, now I'm going to start to sew. So as you can see, we finished sewing both sides of the fabric. Once we have done that, we're gonna create a box corner. You're gonna take, of course, your ruler, your friction pen, and you're going to be measuring here 2 centimeters, and that will be 3/8 inches. And then you're gonna just mark a line across, and you're going to do the same thing to the other side. This is going to be 2 centimeters, and that's going to be again 3/4 inches. When you make these little lines is to stitch across, and we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and then we are going to stitch across to create that box corner. So let's go to the sewing machine. We're here at the sewing machine, and then we're going to start to sew. So as you can see, we finished stitching across to create that box corner. Now I'm going to turn the fabric inside out. And there, as you can see, we created the box corner. Now what I'm going to do is put the fabric aside. So for the handles, you're going to be cutting 2 pieces of the solid fabric and 2 of the printed fabric. And of course, the size you're going to be cutting is 35 centimeters by 10 centimeters. The same thing for the printed side. 35 centimeters by 10 centimeters. If you're using inches, is going to be 13 3/4 inches by 4 inches here. The same thing, 13 3/4 inches by 4 inches. She'll be needing 2 of these pieces. So now I'm gonna do this, the printed side facing down, and I'm gonna do the same thing to this side. I'm gonna face it down. Take my fabric clips here to secure both of these fabrics together. And then we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and then we're going to stitch here across of both of these handle fabrics. We're at the sewing machine. I'm going to start to sew. So as you can see, we finished stitching on top. Now I'm going to open over here, just open it up a little bit, and then take my iron and give it a good press. See, this opens up, okay. And you're going to do the same thing to this side too. So once you open up here, we are going to fold it in half. Fold it here in half, and then take the iron and give it a good press. And then you're going to open up. See the fold we created, and then we're going to refold again. Make sure that the fold is right against the line that we created there, and then iron it again. I'm going to turn it over, and then we're going to do the same thing. Fold in half again. Give it a good press. And then we're going to refold it again. So once you're finished doing the folds, you're going to have 4 folds. And then we need to fold here, this corner in here a little bit. And then you're going to give it a press. Okay. And then you're going to do the same thing to the other side here. Fold this a little bit in, a little bit. Give it a good press. And then we are going to fold everything in, as you can see, folding it. And I'm going to give it a good press with the iron. And then I'm going to take the other side where we made also the little fold, and then fold it again and fold it again. And then refold it again. And then I'm going to give it a good press. Then I'm going to take my fabric clip to secure this end here. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side over here. Secure the end here. And then so the fabric doesn't move too much, I'm going to secure right here in the middle. So then we're going to take it to the sewing machine. And then we are going to start over here. We're going to sew here, go across, then all the way up here, and then across, and we're going to come right back down. So we're going to do the same thing for both of the handles. So let's go to the sewing machine. Now I'm going to start to sew. Make sure that when you're sewing, I prefer the opening facing myself here. And I'm going to start to sew, back stitch a little bit. As you can see, we finished stitching our strap. Now that that's done, we are going to take our body of our bag, take our ruler and our friction pen, and then you're going to measure from here, from the top over here, you're going to be measuring 3 centimeters. And if you're using inches, it's going to be 1 1/8 from here. And you do the same thing here. 3 centimeters, that's 1 1/8. And then of course, for the side, we're going to be using 5 centimeters. That's going to be 2 inches on both sides. Again, 5 centimeters, 2 inches. So once that we have that mark, I'm going to take my strap. And also you can mix and match if you prefer your straps to look like this, that's fine. You can switch it over, whichever you prefer and whatever works for you. So now I'm going to take my sewing pin and I'm just going to secure the strap right there and make sure that you aligned it right here against the line here. And I want to make sure that it's even. Okay, and then flip to the other side. And again, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to be measuring the top. That's 3 centimeters. That's 1 1/8. And the side will be 5 centimeters. That's 2 inches on these sides too. So now I'm going to attach. I'm making sure that my strap is aligned. And it's even. Before you start checking, you just want to make sure that everything is even. Okay, and make sure that your strap. See how I placed it? This is how it looks like. So we're going to go to the sewing machine, and then we're going to stitch a box shape, and then we're going to make a cross going on, crossing with the stitches. So let's go to the sewing machine. Okay, I'm going to start to sew. So as you can see, we finished sewing the straps to the bag and we made the box with a cross, as you can see, in both handles. So now that we finished that, I'm going to turn the fabric inside out. And this is what the bag looks like. So now we finished making our sewing project. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like this tutorial, share it with your friends and your families. Give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please click on the subscribe button. And also if you click on the bell, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. So all the materials and tools you need for this project is listed in the description box below. So until next time, bye.